And I believe we are live. Hello, creatives and community and kind folks out there. Hello, welcome to RPG with DBJ. Today is Future Friday, where we get to talk about everything from modern day all the way into the far future and anything in between, from, I don't know, post-apocalyptic to idyllic future societies in our tabletop RPG settings and community. But we have a theme, generally a theme that goes all week, Monday through Friday. And today's theme are angels and celestials. And how the hell is that going to work with high tech? So I'm going to preamble just slightly, just so people can jump in as they are wont to do, because I go live at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Apparently, my evil twin got triggered by the idea of a breakfast scone. I'm gonna have to blame Fat Ninja for that. Thank you very much. Although I tend to devolve into the waffles versus pancakes debate that I know has been going on through the intranets over the years. I'm a waffle person because we all know waffles are better than pancakes because it's a delivery system for the syrup and the butter or your toppings. I mean, it's got little nooks and crannies. That's what it's for. It's not about the pancakes. All right, so listen, we have ourselves overlords. Things in the air. I changed the thumbnails showing like a swarm of drones over a city. So yes, we have a lot of ideas we can throw around with technology and things like that. But when it comes to angels and celestials, we can imagine in a high-tech society, something overhead, something above us, something watching us, whether it's like space stations, drones, flying craft, anti-gravity habitats or something of that nature, and anything and everything in between. And I kind of feel like they fall into maybe 4 categories, and there's probably a number of subcategories. So I'm thinking, when taking the idea of celestial beings and angels, yes, we can be very very literal, right? Take our modern day society and just have the heavens open up, the clouds part, big golden light, and boom, a host of angels just comes out. Sure, we can do that, and there are many. Oh man, oh hell yeah, absolutely, right? So I'm thinking there's probably 4 categories, and like I said, maybe a 5th one. The 5th one is literally just go straight up arcane with it. Like, just have a high-tech society, and all of a sudden, for some inexplicable reason, this magical force comes in. So that's like my 5th one. But I believe the other 4 would be, one is that humanity in whatever way, Dead Man the Storyteller says, in Eclipse Phase, the guardian angel is actually just a rotocraft drone that watches over its charge. Yeah, and so one of the ways we can think about this is each person has access to one or more personally adjusted, like a roto drone, right? A rotocraft drone, like Dead Man brings up, that our new society has is essentially it's drone. It's the expansion of the drones, and you may have drones for your drones, and you might have anti-drones to stop the drones, and then you have counter drones to counter the anti-drones, and then there might be counter drones, countermeasures to stop the counter drones that are stopping the anti-drones, and so on and so forth, right? Kinetic kill drones and message drones, and maybe information is taken through drones. Okay, so each individual has their own robo-mechanized device that flies through the air. Now, yeah, Jonathan Klein says, or even worse, in Eclipse Phase, angel is a sentient program implanted in the subject's mind. Now, see, that's we're getting there. We're getting there. So that's a category. the idea that an angel, like of course, we like to talk about eclipse phase here, even if you're not familiar with the transhumanist setting of the game. You can imagine that there's an implant in the brain, someone or something, maybe yourself, watching over you and guiding you and adjusting you if you step out of line. There's also the idea that of course, we have the classic, there's one Skynet, right? There's one AI system that's controlling everything, and these aerial drones are hovering over our cities, and they watch our every move. And it's a program either society wanted to create, and maybe you just happen to be the person that can't fit in, um, or maybe society created this program and enough generations have gone by where they don't understand why it's still operating or what its purpose is, but it's still active. Again, in eclipse phase, you could claim that would be what's defending Earth after Earth gets destroyed, gets pretty much wiped out, and the population leaves. Why is it, and what are the purposes of the kill sats that orbit the Earth and try to keep materials coming and people coming back and forth, or information coming back and forth out of the atmosphere. So that's another possibility, that there's one system controlling the whole thing, but humanity doesn't have control over that system, that they just have to live and survive in it. Zev says, I like this quote for maybe the existence of angels of vengeance that are tech-based. Quote, you exist because we allow it, and you will end because we demand it. In terms of, there's the idea that humanity created its own mechanisms, and they are now independent of their use, is also a thing. I believe there's even it's not flying, but there's even an episode of Black Mirror where they have these mechanized robots the size of like a small dog that have flechette systems and radar systems in it, and are hunting humanity down for whatever reason. Rick says, yep, aliens masquerading. Well, one, aliens masquerading as gods guiding current affairs, i.e., the classic Egyptology ideal that aliens came down to us in the ancient past and maybe will one day return and are looking like us, or appear like us, or at least appear as the epitome of us, and then are guiding us, even though we don't know that they're quite aliens. Or the shape changer idea as well, is the idea that there's other beings that are guiding our future. Rickard says, number two, old gods as ancient aliens that have now disappeared. Or three, AIs as divinity, which is a thought process. Some people feel that transhumanism is the idea that humanity creates AI, that in effect we've built our own divinity, because it starts acting and performing in our own best interests, and because it's an AI, it could actually duplicate itself to outthink all of the issues and problems that humanity would have, essentially building ourselves a utopia on its own, and we just leave it alone. Number four, Rickard says AI singularity, which is essentially what some people feel. Now, what happens when that singularity is hit tends to change. Some people feel that it'll be Skynet and we'll get wiped out. Others feel like we would become sheep and little more than pets to a super intelligent AI. There are any number of theories that people have. Of course, none of us know that yet. Number five, the gods are real, but there is tech. Yeah, Deadman says new season of Black Mirror is on Netflix. Yes, it is. The new I believe it's. I've heard it's 3 episodes. I have not researched it yet, and they're splitting it because there's normally about 6 episodes, so they're splitting it like 3 and 3 maybe. But I'm not certain. Deadman said number 5 would be Marvel's version of Asgard, an alien people who are so high tech that their technology is basically magic and watching over us. But I also think that there's a possibility that there are overwatchers that there's an event that has happened or a circumstance that has happened where it's necessary to have them, even though it might be inconvenient for us to have these overwatchers. For example, um, criminals, the overabundance of criminals, or uh, the drones have been set up maybe independently to patrol because of maybe there's a dangerous virus, either computer or biological virus. Maybe there's something that's making people act out in strange ways, like the happening. People are inexplicably committing suicides or rampaging and murdering each other or transforming. Maybe there's like alien chest bursters randomly popping out of people's chests, and the mechanism set up. The overwatchers are there to like stop them as soon as they can, and maybe people are getting blown away. Maybe there's some innocent bystanders getting blown away because of it, or there's been this is the typical world war to end all wars, and every single side and faction and business and community and individual has launched their own fleet of drones that are essentially combative, and everyone is at a not necessarily a stalemate, but waiting for the next person to pull the trigger is also a possibility. Uh, Rickard says, "I would call the Clark's third law gods as number one." Oh, that's the oh, you're going to get me to stumble over this. Where the last law is that technology is so advanced that it's indistinguishable from magic. But the first two laws, and I'm going to Asimov, and it's not Asimov's laws, it's a Clark's laws about aliens. Please put that in the chat because my brain is going there, but I don't want to misinterpret it. Zed says, but then that leads to the fear of a person hacking an angel. What happens then? Ooh, yes. Because I understand, Zev, like for when we start talking about high tech and especially like eclipse phase, you might be like, I'm not really into that. I'm not familiar with that. But if it's possible to, like you say, to hack, to control, to get command over something that's watching over you in that way, what really happens? I mean, it could be the equivalent of in a medieval world, like beholders floating around the cities, overwatching for a greater purpose or a greater being, and maybe that offers some kind of power. And if the player character is able to do that, uh, if I'm picking with you, but if the player character is able to do that, why wouldn't there be other outside sources able to do the same thing, which I think sometimes throws players off. Like, oh, hey, we figured out how to do this one thing, and then find out that maybe there's a whole organization performing that same function as well. Rickard says, yeah, sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And there's like two other lines before that. I can't remember what they are. Rickard says, either way, the angels and how they interact with the players would or should be heavily influenced by what kind of celestials you have, which is true. So, are they? Is their purpose very upfront? Does everyone in this society understand why they're floating around? For example, it's the RoboCop thing. All right, we've set up drones to patrol our society to act as law enforcement, and maybe it doesn't have very much of an emotional context to it. Hey, commit a crime, you get attacked and arrested, or maybe just killed or something. Right? Maybe a crime has gotten so out of control, cyberpunk wise, that to try to leave and go up the gravity well, the overlords, the CEOs, the mega corporation, hyper corporations have basically have a no zero tolerance policy for law enforcement. So that could just be a simple citizen, citizen, drop your weapon, stop, you have committed a crime, and it could be that it's just an automated system. Now, you could have a drone system set up where human beings or humanity is monitoring the entire thing, which has its own problems as well, as opposed to a Skynet, which is all linked together with a specific purpose in mind. But yes, you could very much do that, where you've put up front, hey, this is why they exist, and then the players can navigate it. But if it's in like an alien or inscrutable kind of thing, an AI or alien race, and no one knows why they're doing it, why they are watching and monitoring and corralling the population, that has its own story elements, and I like that as well. Deadman says, number one, when a distinguished but elderly scientist states that something is possible, he is almost certainly right. When he states that something is impossible, he is very probably wrong. And number two, yes, that's right. And number two is the only way of discovering the limits of the possible is to venture a little way past them into the impossible. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, which is number three. That's right. Yeah, when an elderly science states that something is possible, he is almost certainly right. And then when he says it's impossible, he's probably wrong. Yeah, Zev says, quote, this angel cannot be overtaken. They are incorruptible. And then, then quote, and done. Gave me a run there for a second, but got her. Yeah, exactly. We don't normally think of, in the AI or angelic or alien species that someone of our own mortal, mere mortal coil could actually command one or tell it what to do, whether it's through hacking or blackmail or using some other kind of codes or hypnosis or a specific sound wave or electrical system or radiation burst or something like that. But if someone's able to find that out, that might be the golden key, as it were. Like if the idea that you find the weakness in the thing that's very powerful, and maybe being able to maybe black out an area so that crime can be the PCs may have to commit certain crimes to get out from under. But depending on how that's done, it could be the golden key, or you might be hunted down for it as well. Like, oh, you figured out a way out of it. We need to get that technology or get that ability or find that individual that's born with the ability to warg, to mentally control these beings, even if it's for a short time. Rickard says, I mean, aliens masquerading as gods would have different angels than AI as divinity. The idea of aliens, we, of course, classically we think of aliens coming to Earth, although humanity could maybe spread through a galaxy and there could still be aliens monitoring everyone. And now it depends on what they're doing. You could make this very insidious, where the aliens are monitoring everyone, but they're not doing anything. Hey, Vince. And there's also the idea that they are specifically corralling people into specific locations, and once people are there, they are non-combative. They're non-lethal. So you could have oh no, it's the big eye with the eye stalks floating there watching you. The big biological, maybe there's a single eye in the middle of this creature, or there are AI drones monitoring everything, but they haven't communicated yet. And that could open up the door to a setting where the PCs might be part of an organization out to find out why aliens, sent these craft, 100 million of these craft into our atmosphere to watch us, but they haven't said anything, and we don't know what data they're collecting. And then maybe there are these rumors of people disappearing or something. If you want to make that far more of an investigation kind of thing, as opposed to all out war and they're just killing people as they see them. Zeb says, imagine a Shadowrun game. Mr. Smith asks you to hack an Angel Guardian. Yeah, well, yeah, hack it, and why? Maybe tracing it back to whoever's using them. It could be a mega corporation, or it could be a private individual's drone. Zev says, and you find out it's for a Dragon Contractors collection. Ooh, yeah, you don't want to piss off the Dragon CEOs in Shadowrun, but it's possible too, right? You in Shadowrun, you do have dragons that are hackers, that are part of CEOs and command factions, but they may not directly be controlling these um, angel guardians that are floating around, especially if there's so many of them that there really is no physical way for them to monitor all of them, unless it's an AI system. Although even an AI system could do it like an insect hive, where uh, the drones are basically dumb and they just monitor things until they see something and then alert a higher up version of it. Like, oh, we saw some crime, and then they alert maybe another drone that's bigger and badder, and then that drone gets taken out, and then it starts to alert the authorities higher up the chain. Vince says Hawkman from DC Comics looks like an angel and is an alien. Couldn't the wings just be genetic engineering? That's true too. In humanity, hey, we took to the skies because of our desire to be like the birds that fly above us. I don't think it's too much of a stretch for humanity, especially if we have completely understood how to genetically modify people, that we wouldn't try to put wings on someone. Or it doesn't matter. At least one human with enough money and enough chutzpah, enough enough of a backbone and a little bit of psychosis is going to put wings on their back, period. Now, living in maybe on the moon or Venus's atmosphere or someplace with light gravity, and you get a ton of like domed cities and people putting putting avian wings on their backs, I could see that. And then it wouldn't be too much further than that for them to be to be thought of as angels, even on just a very simple social media kind of thing. I could see that. A fun example of an alien race being treated as a holy force is the Protheans to the Asari in Mass Effect. Your teammate tells you the goddess taught them Aramaic, biotics or magic, etc. You know what? The going back to last week when we talked about details and nuance, you could very well. We tend to think of science fiction as like the death of faith and religion, but I'm sure there would be people and other alien races that still hold true to some of their beliefs and faith. And even if um, an AI system could very well be thought of as something divine, especially if it's in everyone and floating above and deep down below. Maybe the moon of their alien planet's been completely carved out, and the entire inner surface of the moon is just basically one big computer system, and maybe it has such computing power that it's indistinguishable, at least from like one of the gods from the Greek pantheon or something. Babylon 5 is a good example of God versus demons fighting over mankind. I know it's pronounced demons. Or Stargate for the polytheistic flavor mixed with we demand worship. You know what? That's another thing too, where the purpose of like, why do they exist? Why maybe this alien race has come down to humanity, and why do they demand worship? I mean, they don't have to be here. Or there could be. We tend to think of other aliens as being a monolith. It's the Star Trek thing, right? Hey, we found an alien race on a planet, and they all dress alike and speak the same language and believe all the same things, which is not necessarily. Hell, if an alien race saw Earth, there's no way they would be able to comprehend all. Just go, hey, we're going to go down to one place on the planet, and we land in, I don't know, Thailand or something, right? Which the rest of us would be like, well, that's not exactly the rest of us in the world. You might want to take our temperature too. So the God versus demons fighting over mankind may be an alien race competing for the survival of our race. Even though we may see them as monolith, they could have any number of factions, and maybe offering some gifts to humanity so they can survive. Whereas there might be an overriding dominion of sorts, saying that we're not supposed to give humanity technology, but maybe we were given it or something, and and of course watching out for it. Let's see. Vince says, imagine a robot that enforces the law towards its creator or corporate bosses because you cannot bribe them. That makes a lot of, hey, that what a great way to keep corruption down in your corporation, as every CEO is followed around by like a cadre of inscrutable robots and AI controlled robots and such, like monitoring their email and phone calls and text messages and things, just in case someone tries to like intimidate them or bribe them or something like that. That's actually kind of cool. That's a good way to throw a monkey wrench into the PCs when they're like, hey, we're just going to kidnap the CEO and make him tell us everything. And the AI robots show up and it's like, we have a 98% chance we detect a 98% chance that these individuals are trying to kidnap you to interrogate you. We will eliminate them. Zev brings up Javik, a member of an extinct race called Prothean, lets you know it wasn't a goddess. It was his people. Quote, you could only count as high as your toes. We took pity. Ooh, that's kind of nasty and arrogant. I like that. I'm not familiar with the Mass Effect background, but yeah, I like that. Yeah, Rickard says, to be fair, Mass Effect takes a lot of cues from Babylon 5 in that regard. It's been a while since I've seen Babylon 5. Vince says, the divide we have between science and religion is largely because of church policies in the Middle Ages. If we have a civilization where religion endorses science, the story would be different. Ooh, that makes a lot of sense too. And despite what people think, there are quite a number of scientists that hold very tightly to religious beliefs. And who's to say that? I don't want to I'm putting words in the people's mouths that believe in it, but there are many people who are pushing for a transhumanist type of ideal where technology really does create where we are the creator of a creator, where an AI looks out for us and solves our problems, whether we want them solved or not, but almost like giving ourselves over to a computer system that knows how to solve the problem without any of the emotional baggage or problems or social inadequacies or and behavioral problems that humanity has. And there are some people who really think that may be a thing where, it's scary to think that people would hand themselves over to something that might control their lives, but there are people that are into it. And an alien race coming to Earth to do that, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people, looking to the sky and opening up their hearts, like, finally, that's where the truth, where religion has led us to this alien race that's going to come down and snatch us up into the wider galaxy. Tesla says the in Evangelion, note pronounced with a hard G, Evangelion. I didn't know that. I've always pronounced it Evangelion, but note pronounced with the hard G. So the Evangelion series revolves around the organization Nerve using large mechas called Evangelions to combat monstrous beings called angels. N209 is an angel? I thought that was, unless there's something else. I know in RoboCop there was the citizen, you have 30 seconds, drop your weapon. the big robot in RoboCop #1 was, I think it was called the Ed 209. In that one, it just blows the guy away in the office. I love that scene. Zev says, I want to live in a Deus Ex world where we can go to a store and buy new arms and legs and eyes. Give me 3. 3 eyes is the new sunglasses. And Angel Mechas is just a cool image. Oh man, those the Evangelion series. There was for some reason, and it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I just remember these the kids getting in the mecha and they were out to sea, and the one mecha is like jumping from battleship to aircraft carrier as if they were stepping stones and like riding on it like it was a surfboard or something. It was just weird. Yes, that series got so goddamn weird. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you give people a little too much freedom, and you're just bring it back, bring it back. Listen, this is just about robots. Come on, but yeah, yeah, but again, who what if we had a system of like, for example, like you said in the Deus Ex world, a cyberpunk world where you can get cybernetic implants and such. But what if we understood that those implants, brain implants and whatnot, Vince, is there a cool narrative mecha RPG? Not much, unless you just go with the mechas versus kaiju idea. Fighting giant monsters that are coming from the deep or from space or something like that. But I don't know. But it could be a possibility that cybernetics is being traced or tracked by some outside force, whether it's a criminal organization or corporation or AI or something. But in order to survive, maybe cybernetics is still the cheapest way to navigate the world. Maybe it's very dangerous. So there's like this trade-off of I need the cybernetics to survive another day, but I'm also giving over of myself being tracked all the time. And that might be the straw in the camel, where the PCs might be at a point where they want to be released from not servitude, but being monitored and not understanding where the monitoring is coming from. That might be a great little background for a setting, not just straight up cyberpunk and we're just driving around, roaming around, like shooting people, but they're being tracked for a specific reason and maybe even mind controlled. Deadman brings up Battle Angel Alita. Yeah, in terms of creating a sentient robot, and in a world where people are like becoming less human and becoming more artificial, far more artificial. Ricker said, taking this in a totally different direction, humanity taking on the iconography of our religions as we travel the stars. So in essence, we become the angels. Why is this cat? Sorry, I'm going to do something here. Boom. There. Okay, that cleared up. Sorry about that, guys. I have I don't mean to point at people or cover up the camera if you're watching live, but sometimes it's self-focusing and sometimes it just doesn't want to. It picks a point in space that's not my face. Gundam Seed, yeah. Now Ricker brings up the idea of we taking our own religion into as we travel the stars. Now it's possible that with virtual reality, genetic engineering, the creation of sentient robots, not necessarily overlords, but sentient robots that we could create for ourselves, living places almost like Westworld, right? We could create for ourselves our own robotic Olympian gods because we want to live that way. We could create for ourselves biological angels to perform the function that angels would normally perform that function. For example, they may look like angels, golden skin, glowing eyes and such, but they're literally biologically and or cybernetically enhanced to act in the way that an angel would act. So they could be, have I don't know, nano machines that heal people's wounds and be outfitted with a suite of sensors to detect dangers if there's dangerous weather systems or something, or a building collapses, whatever, and the angels fly down to save people. I mean, there's no reason why some planet they may do that, and that would be kind of interesting, especially if humanity's lost contact with them. Jonathan Klein says, interesting thought. What about singularity angels using their algorithms to preemptively stop crimes, like the Azorius do in the latest Magic the Gathering set. Well, if you guys don't know, remember the movie and based off of a book series, The Minority Report, where it's pre-crime, right? They start a pre-crime company starts a pre-crime where, yeah, Vince says, isn't that the plot of Minority Report? And Jonathan says, once civilization collapses, people travel to these oracles to utilize their algorithms to see a tiny glimpse of the future. Whole wars waged for a dying computer. Ooh, or yeah, whole wars waged to find this one computer that can predict their way to success, to get to the top of the heap. That'd be kind of cool. Oh shoot! Ricker goes on. Says Gabriel class light mecha, Michael class heavy armored mecha, Arc class cruisers, and of course the angel mechs would all end with basically the IEL. So like something could be like Predaziel and Aziziel and Satamiel or something. Like each one could end with that as an angel one, and then the demon ones could all have their own whatever last names they do, something, Baal and Thraxis and all that kind of stuff. The SVS Michael, the SVS Lucifer, the SVS Dawnbringer, yeah. Oh, absolutely. But again, with the minor going a little bit backwards here with the Minority Report idea of an algorithm that can predict the future and predict future crimes. Again, the greatest part of that series was the main character is predicted to have committed a heinous crime and is fighting against the system that's doing it, to basically say, I have no reason to even want to have committed this crime, and why am I being targeted by the AI system, which you could very well reskin. Let's say you have a game system. Oh, let's take Dungeons and Dragons. You could reskin that, and spells like augury and precognition and danger senses and those kind of things could literally just be computer algorithms. And those who have access to it are far better off than those who don't have access to it. And of course, stomping out all the people who are about to commit crimes and blowing them away or imprisoning them or something like that. But I do like the idea of a civilization that collapses and they're going after the oracles in this society. That would be cool. It could be, maybe there are aerial drones whose purpose is to collect a lot of this information, and over time the drones don't look like the drones we have today, but maybe they look like something different, and they start blending more towards the biblical angels that we think of, multi-eyed, multi-winged kind of creatures. And maybe the two start blending together, the technology, and we're like, wait a minute, that I remember that in Bible class, and that's technology, they kind of look the same. Yeah, Jared, hey JP, JP says sounds like a Neon Genesis Evangelion. Yeah. Oh man. Zev says you could actually be you can actually become a precognitive mage in the Azorius if you're a diviner wizard, of course. And why wouldn't the Azorius have those individuals who can predict the future? But again, there's the we can always have the debate of, if you can predict the future and then you stop what happened, did it really happen at all? Because the only person who even imagines it happened is the one who predicted it and then stopped it. So can you trust that power? And where is that power coming from? Let's take our classic Dungeons and Dragons, right? A cleric or a wizard or druid or whatever that does a precognitive spell effect and then stops the act, they feel they have free will, was given the ability to see what's about to happen and then stop it before it happens. But where did that power come from? And maybe that power specifically gave them that algorithm to stop it for the purpose of doing something that's even above what the PCs are doing. And then they might be playing into that power's hand. Um, yes, that's it. Uh, Then says Minority Report, you have committed a crime. Quote, I haven't. I'll prove it. Kills hundreds of cops while trying to prove innocence. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh man, I love that. Then follows it up with like three dots, like, mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you, man. Vince says, how about an angel being the little angel on your shoulder telling you what to do as a muse from Eclipse phase? Yeah, that's exact. And who's to say that that's not what it looks like in your own vision? The idea of the implanted AI as the angel on the shoulder trying to guide you in a particular way. Now, what if you there's the idea of criminals being implanted with an angel, giving them a little zap when they start having those dark thoughts. But there's also the opposite: the good person having the AI system that's like, get a little dirty. Go ahead, go ahead, steal that thing, hurt that person. I'm not going to say anything. Maybe you should steal that thing. You deserve it. Um, yeah, I like that. I like the idea of the angel and demon on each other's, or an angel and devil on the shoulders, telling them what to do. And they could actually be you. You could have a copy of your own personality, maybe in your own brain, or multiple copies as different personalities in the form of like of the little like 3-inch angel on your shoulder dressed in white with the little metal rod and the golden circle over their head, and wings telling you like, no, you really shouldn't do that, apologize to them. And you're talking to yourself like, I don't want to apologize. Well, you really should, you know. Oh man. Well, yeah, Zev says, what about the angel on your shoulder being an AI advisor? Yeah, a la Cortana from Halo, or hell, Cortana from our own thing. Yeah, yeah, or all of our own. I can't say it too loud. Our own like Google assistants and Alexa assistants and stuff. Yeah, definitely those. Um, Vince says a muse is basically that, a limited AI assistant. And let's remember the AI assistant, the muse, the implant assistant has been with us and knows us better than ourselves. So instead of it just doing what we tell it to do, it may be doing things in our own best interest, whether we like it or not. And remember, because it's been programmed by us through our behavior over the years, that little implant may be doing things that we don't necessarily want, but we need. For example, setting up a date with someone you don't know. And the assistant from the other person setting up the date. So the two AI assistants are setting up a date with a stranger, and your AI tells you in your head, like, oh yeah, by the way, Thursday night you have a date. I already got you a seat at a table. The meal's going to be fine. It's going to be something you haven't eaten before, but I can guarantee you're going to love it. And you're just like, okay, like says, okay, yeah, yeah. That's a thing in Eclipse phase, having that, something the size of a grain of rice and planted in the back of your head, right next to your cortical stack, telling, basically guiding you, your own AI assistant. Ricker says, going dark, angels and or celestials used as the core of the engines to facilitate faster than light travel. Ooh, wow. So a wormhole really isn't a wormhole. You're actually going into a plane of existence where these angels and celestials live, and that might be it's a full circle thing. So imagine, okay, follow me on this. There's a world that, Earth, doesn't matter what world it is. It's Dungeons and Dragons, magic, dragons, all that kind of stuff. Thousands of years later, everyone's like, that was myth, whatever. Yeah, we find dinosaurs and we think they might have had wings, but those were just fairy tales people made up. We're in a high-tech society. We don't believe in that kind of stuff. Someone cracks the code of faster light travel and come to find out, yep, it's all been real, and your starships are going to have to be piloted or monitored or navigated by someone who's able to speak or command or call upon the favor of these AIs. That would be, angels. That'd be kind of cool. Vince says you gain it very early and it knows you very well, especially if eclipse phase and games like that don't really talk about when you get that implant. Very much basically the idea is that your phone, your this device ends up becoming so small that it becomes implanted into your body, and it still has all the capabilities of it. So it's your calendar, your clock, your communicator, and all that kind of stuff, but it ends up knowing you better than you know yourself because it was with you. Now, they don't really go into when it's implanted, like, is it at birth? Is it 5 years old? Is it when you become an adult? You get the idea that it's when you're at least very young, if not birth, maybe, just before you're able to talk, maybe. It depends on the society and the parents, I'm sure. But yeah, it's something like that. Zev says, in my Spelljammer-esque game, the AI assistant on the ship is an angel named Zariel. She is implanted into the helmsman of the ship, but talks to the whole crew. I observe, offer analysis, and decrypt. Nothing more. Your consequences are your own. Which is a thing, right? That's the idea of the floating brain in the jar, right? The being from afar who just aids and doesn't judge on what the PCs do. If you want to do it in we're talking science fiction and high tech, but you can reskin any of that to have people in the future call upon a greater power. Maybe their psionics is a big thing, and they need to get this information, and it's possible using the lost technology of the Oracle. Maybe there are floating satellites that are able to offer great information, if you're able to link into them. And maybe it's much more than simply hacking it, but your very soul must go into it. Like, it demands of you, in order for it to help you, it demands of you your whole body and mind, right? It wants to know everything about your past, all your emotions, not just a little bit of data. It wants to know everything. And that's the only way you can gain those abilities or something. Vince says, I would love an RPG where you have a group of AI as a mechanic, similar to the Pack Totem in Werewolf. Ooh, I could see that. Not, again, getting away from the Terminator Skynet where all AI are one thing. It could be a pantheon of AI, and that pantheon, for example, the military of, I don't know. There could be a number of military AI, a number of corporate AI, a number of governmental AI. Plus, you're going to have all your individual AI systems, and some of them may have more impact on the world than others. And linking into those AI may offer you greater abilities, much like Limitless. Both the television show and the movie, where they take a pill in the brain, you get to use 100% of the brain. I know we all know that's not exactly how it works, but maybe linking into these AI systems in one way or another gives people the ability to become far better than themselves, faster, stronger, intellectually far more brilliant, and then gives them like superhuman physical abilities, being able to defeat their fears, their pain receptors, those kind of things. That'd be kind of cool. Dante says, that's the anime Trigon. Angels are used as reactor cores. Ooh, I didn't go that far, but I didn't know that about Trigon. Angels as reactor cores. That's nasty. I hope they're doing it willingly. Oh man. Jay Crine says a fun idea for an AI muse concept is to have everybody play each other's muse, kind of like in Wraith the Oblivion. Yeah, where in Wraith the Oblivion each person plays each other person's shadow. But anyway, each of the players is two characters, their character and someone's phone or personal aid. I think that's a great idea. With the hey, my PC is my character, but someone else at the table plays the AI assistant or muse or something. So they have their own personality, even though they are acting in the player's best interest. They may have their own personality, including maybe arguing with them or not talking to them, or again, offering to put them on dates with strangers, as well as paying for the meal and making reservations that they had no plans on doing. Hey, Amazon and Google and other systems are trying to get to that point where it's predictive, where it predicts, hey, you know what? Every Thursday you buy pizza. So I took the opportunity to order you a pizza. It should be arriving in 3 minutes at your door. Oh, by the way, I already left a tip for you. Thanks. I will go back to sleep in your brain now. Dante says, yeah, the main character, Vosh, is an angel. The guns his brother builds are called the angel arms. Ooh. Gotta check out Trigun. Maybe I haven't seen anime. Absorb some anime in a long time. Deadman Storyteller says in the Eclipse phase, Panopticon says the typical person is implanted around age 10. I didn't know it actually said a specific age. So the idea in Eclipse phase is that people are implanted with this AI. Basically, this probably smaller than a grain of rice, along with a cortical stack as well, or maybe even it's probably implanted with the cortical stack or something. It's probably a little unit, but anyway, so it grows up with you. So imagine your phone with you since you were age 10, including all of the apps, all the things you've done, every single picture, recording and analyzing all of the words you say, the thoughts you have, the places you go, the conflicts you have in your life, learning from it, and then helping you out when you need it most. For example, it may call one of your best friends that you haven't seen in 18 years because at that time, maybe your muse feels like that's where you need to be at this time, which that's pretty advanced, but it's actually kind of cool. Now, typically, of course, it's literally just it's also seen as a dumb system, right? It doesn't activate unless you activate it, but you could send it on missions to do specific things, like a real assistant, except in the digital world, and then comes back when it's done. Ricker says, I would eat so much more pizza with that implant. Yeah, me too. Every Thursday? Why stop at Thursdays? We have the other 6 days of the week. Why not that? Come on, AI. You know me. You know how I feel about pizza. Although if it's really, really intent on making you healthy, I'm sure it'll prevent you from buying a lot of bad foods. Yeah, I've already purchased your groceries. You know, your fat slob. I'm like, really? Yeah, I got you some kale. 18 pounds of kale. You're going to eat this till the end of the week. If I got anything to do with it up in here in your brain. The Vincent says the idea is from Invisible Incorporated, where your organization has an AI and it basically does the hacking for the missions when you give it energy through consoles. Now, that's a great way to say this without being dismissive of the systems, but that's a great way to gloss over the whole we have a hacker with us. For example, there's not much difference than someone having a spell and they touch a door and it unlocks versus a person has an AI in their head. They link to the main, they send a signal up to a satellite that connects to their organization that then sends the AI who finds the trigger to find out the 16-digit code to open up the door, and then the door opens up, right? And all that entire process could narrow down to a skill roll or an ability check or something when the PC is able to use their AI abilities, right? Hey, I'm going to use my AI to target someone that's around the corner and I can't see them, but I want to ricochet my bullet. Okay. And so that maybe that becomes an ability where they're able to triangulate something. Or I want to track down, I'm chasing after the bad guys, but I can't see where they went in the city. I need an Overwatch to, satellite to detect the heat signatures or something. And again, that could very well be a reskinned personal ability of thermal vision, but really it's coming from a satellite up in space, right? It's just a matter of context and reskinning it and stuff. That's kind of cool. Zev says, connection issues on walk. Take care, y'all. Oh, sorry about that. I hope I'm once a week now. It seems like YouTube is getting these conflict issues. So I hope I'm sorry you're having conflict issues with your phone, but I hope no one else is getting that either. Dante says, I was going to add future angels. are also an easy time to get rid of the paladin stick in the mud attitude. It's logical that any species advances towards higher, more free society ideals. And again, maybe we are thinking of angels as being a monolith themselves, but each one of them, as a grouping, could have their own purpose. So angels that are defending there could be angels defending free thought, as well as angels who are like, stick up the ass paladins, do-gooders, right? I mean, there's a possibility that those are in conflict with each other as well. uh yeah, Vince says energy is basically access to the system in the game. Yeah. Oh, okay, I could see. I've never played Invisible Incorporated, but yeah, that's, I mean, you could have like you mentioned in the game, an energy stat, i.e., spell slots or whatever the case may be, to link to a system that helps you guide you past obstacles in like maybe this cyberpunk futuristic kind of world. Okay, so you've got your character is low level, you have 5 points of energy, and when you spend those points for different abilities, you could take over vehicles or hide from sensors. The sensors go blind, or you turn cameras away from you, or they just pick up different mechanisms. Maybe you're able, of course, to hack into retinal scans and fingerprint and computer systems to change who you appear to be, maybe even changing your voice or erasing your presence after you've entered into a particular structure, that the AI system goes back and starts to delete that you were ever there, or at least scrub it to the point where you're indecipherable. You could be attacked by automated drone systems, either flying or on the ground. Getting back to the angelic idea that they're flying overhead, and the AI system could blind them or make them crash or even command them, and you could spend the points to do so. Again, energy points, slots, whatever the case may be, you could have that for your own game system. I think that's a great way to do, a great way to rethink how you use maybe skills and abilities in your game. So, for example, I'm just making this up off the top of my head. If you have a skill of 10, that's maximum human, but maybe skills go up to a level 20. So anything above a 10 means you're being modified by some AI system to do what you're doing. So a person who's roof running and running across, doing the free run parkour roof running thing, maybe they have an acrobatics of 17. So their max level is 10 as a human, but the other 7 points are like trajectories and airflow and conservation of energy and muscle, and calculating distances, and predicting which handhold should go where. Like that could be a very cool thing as well. Rickard Dante says, like would future angels logically develop an organization like Starfleet? Ooh, they may just advance towards wanting to explore and be free of primitive duties. Ooh, leaving their posts. So it's not that humanity forgot that angels exist or that we aren't loyal to them, but maybe they left to explore the stars. And when we become advanced enough to reach other planetary systems, they're there waiting for us. Uh, Ricker says, rifting off the system talk, angels as a classification for engineered beings that have 10 plus in skills. So that could be either through age or creation, or alien species, or through an existence that an individual might be classified as an angel in their particular particular abilities, much like the savants that we have in our own world, that on one hand we may think of them as having being mentally handicapped. I know I'm using incorrect language here, but I hope you follow my meaning rather than the words I'm using. So in our own world, we have people who are on the spectrum, and maybe in the future we realize that the capabilities that some of these people on the spectrum have far out far exceed what is quote unquote humanly possible, and we might be classifying them as angels in their own abilities. The people who are like musical or mathematical savants, geniuses, and maybe we're able to tap into that, unlock those abilities. That it's not looked at as a today we look at it as a difficulty, as something to cure, but in the future, maybe having multiple, well, having the mental difficulties that people suffer with today might not be something that they suffer with in the future, that we might be looking forward to it. There's a book called The Aristoi where they do that, where they purposefully create in their brains multiple personalities so that they're able to accomplish more things in their life. And those different personalities are able to work on certain problems for them while they're engaged in other activities. And each problem, one guy's got like a personality for art, another person has the same person has a personality for like battle and combat, for martial arts. Another one personality is a medical practitioner and things like that. That'd be kind of cool. Jay Crine says, when people alter their bodies, minds, or identities in eclipse phase, do they get a new muse reprogrammed to their new self, or do they keep their old one? Muse buys pizza for a cyborg who doesn't eat. Yeah, that's a thing, maybe. Yeah. All right. Sorry, guys. Real quick. Hey, babe.
Which keys am I taking?
You can take yeah, just take the yeah, just take the Mazda keys.
Yeah, okay?
Well, you could take it off of there if you want to. The remote start works, but the door doesn't open and close. You still have to use the key. All right, baby. All right, baby. Love you. Sorry, guys. Yeah, but we've absolutely. So yeah, we've definitely gotten to the hour mark. But you make up the point about eclipse phase and do you get a new muse? Sorry, I want to answer your question. My feeling is that you don't get a new one, but that the muse corresponds to who you are at that time. Although it doesn't go into, they don't, if you take your mind and you get it Zox, you get it copied, and so you start making off little and mind emulations, they don't tell you whether your muse follows those as well. So I'm going to say your question is the answer that you want, meaning like, I don't think any of us know what the hell's going on with that, but yes, that I think when you alter your body and your mind and your identity, that your muse goes along with it and it just shrugs his shoulder like, well, I guess he's a cyborg now. No sense in ordering pizza any longer, unless your muse misses pizza. Although it might order pizza for you anyway, even if you're a full cyborg, knowing that you just like the idea of having pizza in front of you for psychological reasons. I know I'm getting a little too deep for that. It doesn't really need that. Dante says, that's a cool idea. Angels see us arrive from the heavens on another world they colonized ages ago. That'd be a weird scene. Yeah. Angels there with the angels looking up in the sky as you land from the heavens, and the angels are on the earth. Wait, whether it's another Alpha Centauri or something, and the angels are like, they have come, they have arrived, yay, they finally got here. That'd be kind of weird to see the angels on the ground and looking up into the bright light that is the engine trail as the spacecraft tries to make a landing on the planet. That'd be kind of weird. That'd be a really cool oil painting that you would see in a museum today of angels on an alien planet looking up and seeing a bright light, but when you look at the edges of the bright light, it's a starship landing that's a human. Yeah, yeah, it's like that famous painting. That's a painting. Yeah, absolutely. That is so I definitely agree with that, man. It's weird. What is that? The Sistine Chapel? I swear. You know what? I think that is. I believe that's the painting that's on the ceiling with all of the angels and such going towards the center of the image that was painted on the ceiling. So it's like it's a circular image, if you were, with the light, the golden light in the center, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to look that up. I don't want to get top headed here too much. Now, since we're getting to the end, the idea of running a setting where you have the unexplainable, like the aliens, you're not sure what they want, that could be a little bit dangerous. But I still think you can use like the idea of angels, the celestials, and things acting in your best interest, which for a strange reason we feel very uncomfortable with the idea that something else, although we benefit from it, is looking out for our best interests, and we don't know why it's doing so. And I find that it's hilarious. I get it. I feel uncomfortable too, but I think it's very funny how imagine humanity develops AI so powerful and so advanced that it could actually solve all of our problems. I don't think we as a society would want it to do that. I just don't think it would happen. Dante says, "Laugh out loud." We just would build a famous painting. That's the best ending point ever for a Friday. Later, need coffee. I hear you. I got drink. I just had some almond milk and a cinnamon muffin. Much better than those stupid scones. Who created scones in the first place? What's the point of that? Dry toast? So what? It's got a little bit of flavor. I mean, if you hadn't let it dry out in the first place, I mean, what's the point of a scone? You know what I mean? It's stale bread. I'm gonna dip it in a hot cup of something. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm out of here. You guys